Hey, it's Foulin out. I'm Raymond.
I'm John.
Oh my goodness. Can you believe it, John?
I cannot believe it.
We're still dancing.
For the first time in I don't know how long. I know we've made the Elite Eight, but this is the first time in a long time that Virginia Tech is still dancing in the NCAA March Madness tournament.
It's nice to not be playing in those 8-9 games.
Oh, yeah, not getting, just pooped on by Wisconsin with, Nigel Harris, Ethan Happ, Bronson Koenig. Remember him? The three-point guy that had 8 three-pointers against us.
And then Colin Sexton
God.
in Alabama.
Yeah, that was rough. I mean, we either had a date with, Villanova after that game.
Yeah. But this year, we got a 13 seed and a 12 seed. A lot better.
Yeah, a lot
better. A lot easier road to the Sweet 16.
Well, and I think we definitely deserved it.
Yeah, I mean, we had a good season.
Oh, but both of those games were a bit tight in places. We'll talk in a little bit about them here shortly, but I think we got a little bit of work to do before we take on Duke, and I think Duke has a lot more work than we do based off of their tight struggle with UCF.
Yep, we'll get into that as well.
Yeah,
a little bit.
A little bit.
We got a lot to talk about, so we're gonna have to keep it a little brief on every. We got to go over how many games.
We're gonna go over a lot, at least 32
plus 16.
Plus 16. Yeah, we're gonna give a lightning round.
Yeah.
Just bang, 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 and then we'll cover a little bit of our road trip this weekend too.
Road trip down to Charlotte to see the Celtics, and then talk about a man close to my heart. He's hanging him up.
And if you don't know that, you're not a true sports fan.
You're going to know soon.
You will know soon. In about 50 minutes, I'd say. Max.
Yeah.
But let's get right into it. All right, let's talk about the first game. Virginia Tech versus St. Louis. This took place on Friday night at 10 o'clock Eastern
10 o'clock.
time.
Way past my bedtime.
Yikes. So, first of all, how is a game in the East region being played in San Jose, California?
Those regions don't mean anything anymore.
I don't get the whole I understand the pod system, but if this is an East bracket, come on, no game should be farther west than St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, that's just a little personal thing. But let's get right into the game. So Virginia Tech came out hot. I think they went. They ended the half 40-18 over St. Louis.
Yeah, we were up 22.
Key thing, Robinson didn't start.
Yeah.
Do you think that's mainly just Buzz Williams he just wanted to keep it going with what we have been doing for the past 12 games before putting Justin back in? Or do you think he was still a little nursing that injury a little bit?
I think a little bit of both. I think both of those points are partially why Buzz did it. The first thing, in the first game especially, you could see Justin Robinson still nursing that foot injury a little bit. There's times where he came up a little gimpy. I don't know if that's because of the injury or if it's something he sustained during the game, but he was definitely, favoring his right foot for portions of that game. And I think also, they've changed their play style completely without Justin Robinson, and it's hard to flip a switch like that. Even with a great player like Justin Robinson, everyone else has been playing a different way. And to come into a tournament game, even though you are, heavily favored, you don't want to switch it up too much. So I think that was smart from Buzz, sort of ease Justin Robinson back into the system, back into the way they want to run offense. And I think we're going to need him a lot more next week when we play Duke. Definitely
against Duke. I think the assist numbers from him are going to have to increase. He's probably going to have to get at least 7 assists in that Duke game if we want to win. But he did all right against the Billikens. This was a team that beat us last season in one of those non-conference little tournament things. Remember, the Charleston Classic, but a different. I think it was a 2K thing or something last year. So they've had our number in the past, but I think we got the ghost off of our shoulder. What's the phrase for that?
Albatross
off of our neck. Yeah, there we go. I'm not that bright. I study business for a reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel that we really we came out and dominated that first half. We set the tempo. We pretty much dictated the tempo of the game.
Oh yeah.
And we we optimized our opportunities as well. We converted on turnovers. We had a lot of fast break opportunities. We did get out rebounded though, even in the first half. But that second half though, St. Louis just came out. I know they were a second half team, and they came back in 3 of their 4 Atlantic 10 conference tournament games, and the championship game against Davidson.
Real Cinderella story.
Yeah, but it's a trend. We see a lot of these teams come tournament time that either blow big leads or just have that ability to just come back.
Were you worried when they cut it to 10? Did you think we're going to be another victim of March Madness?
I was worried because the way that they cut it to 10 was very scary. They cut it to 10 after it was a 16-point game, and then they got 2 threes in 2 possessions after a turnover on our possession in between. That was bad. One of the threes wasn't contested. He stepped right into, I forget his name. I think it was Isabel.
Oh, was it Isabel that hit those threes?
I think Isabel was the first 3, and I think Javon Bess was the second one.
Okay.
Isabel just hit that 3. He stepped into his shot. It was pretty far from the line.
It was a transition, too, wasn't it?
It was a transition 3, and he was just wide open. I think, I forget who blew the coverage, but, and then Javon Bess off a screen, even though it was contested, still a great shot and went in. Buzz Williams had to call timeout after that. It's down to 10 points. Momentum is definitely with St. Louis. But we had some key plays, key shots. And I think Blackshear down the stretch just really kept us in that game and really just was able to stamp things out and get Tech the win.
Yeah, and I think that's been the trend in both of these games. It's defense first, especially with the perimeter defense. You talk about those 2 threes. Overall, St. Louis, they only shot 4 of 23, so not a stellar night from beyond the arc.
But they're not a 3-point shooting team, really.
Yeah, not at all. But still shooting 17%. Or is that quick maths?
What's the quick maths
for 4 out of 23?
17.4. You're right on.
No, damn. All right.
You're smart.
That was honestly just a lucky guess. That percentage, you're not going to win a lot of games. Even if you're not like a go-to 3-point shooting team, you need to keep it up around 30%.
Yeah, they also missed 6 free throws.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a lot of their guys they have mid-range game and they get in the paint. Like you saw a lot of their guys when they were in the second half when they really wanted to like try and come back. A lot of their guys were in the paint in the restricted area trying to get those rebounds, those offensive boards. And putting it back, and they were beating up on Blackshear and Outlaw, who are the only 2 guys sometimes in the paint down low. So got to give him credit for trying to get back in the game. But I mean, Nickeil Alexander-Walker was huge in that game. He had a few real good moves, real good drives to the basket.
Oh, yeah.
Which I've been dying to see him do for like the entire regular season, and he's finally doing it. Couldn't have come at a better time.
A very aggressive play. He has an array of moves that he goes to when he's in the lane. A lot of different shot fakes, a lot of different up fakes that can just get bigger guys out of his way. And he has a lot of length. He's 6'5", but he plays a lot bigger. Especially when he's taken to the whole, he's a slasher, sort of like a Dwayne Wade, Jason Tatum style kind of guy. Definitely a little smaller, but he makes up for it with just sheer talent.
Sort of like a combo guard between like a shooting guard and a small forward in a way. But he came up huge. He also came up with a few assists as well. He only had 1 assist, but a few rebounds. 6 rebounds for him. But I think we were a bit too timid in that game from the 3-point line. We only shot 4 3-point. We did go 40% from 3, but we only shot 10 3-pointers. And we're a team known for shooting the 3.
I think in that instance, it's take what the defense gives you, especially with Blackshear, biggest guy on the court. When you're playing these smaller, like non-Power 5 conference teams, they're not going to have a guy that can match up with Blackshear. They're not going to have big bodies that they can throw at you in the paint. So I think it's smarter to attack the rim. But yeah, you do expect, especially with Justin Robin being back, that you're going to get a lot of those dribble drives to kick out to the 3-point line. And they had a few of them, but
they did. And Blackshear was really the key to that game. He only 2 of 7 from the field, but 11 of 12 from the free throw line.
Yeah, and that's
that
how
was
you do it.
Killer because every time he'd go up, he'd either get fouled or, his shot wouldn't go in, but he would still get fouled and head to the line. And he only missed one the entire night. So that was a great performance from Tech. Great way not to choke the lead away, too, as we've seen a lot of other teams in the tournament do. And now moving on to the Liberty game, too. Yeah. This was one that I was really worried about. This is a crosstown, not really a rivalry, but this is a game that Liberty definitely wanted to win. They're only 94 miles away from Blacksburg. Big up-and-coming private college with a lot of good athletics department. Their football team is for real now in D1, and their basketball team just came off their best season ever. And I mean, they don't really have a lot of talent, but they have a lot of guys who can play. And they had one guy named Scotty James, whose entire game was just, give me the ball, I'll go up and, get some offensive boards and stuff. He really good in the paint, but he's also a very good actor. He definitely won an Academy Award against Lipscomb in the Atlantic Sun Championship
One of the
game.
worst flops I've ever seen, and I watch Marcus Smart on a nightly basis. I'm just kidding. Marcus Smart, yeah, he flops from time to time, but he's fantastic defender.
Yeah, there was definitely a flop in this game today against Tech.
Oh, yeah.
Where Justin Robinson, ran into him, but he didn't have his feet set or anything. He was trying to get the charge.
Yeah.
And the ref wasn't having any of it.
The ref was standing right there. You're gonna be you're not gonna pull the wool over the eyes of him that easily.
Yeah, and I mean, overall, another good game from Tech, but the first half we really did struggle a little bit because Liberty was just shooting lights out in the first half. I mean, they made, I think, 7 or 8 3-pointers. McGee had 4 or 5 in the first half.
He went 4 or 5 in the first half, I believe. Not missing much. And he hit some tough ones. He got some easy ones, but he also hit some tough ones. Yep. And I think Buzz Williams definitely made an emphasis, run him off the 3-point line. Just don't give him anything from deep, and if you do, it's got to be contested.
Yep. And if it's anything from deep, it's from like the logo or something. Yeah. In the second half, I only saw 2 or 3 missed rotations. Yeah. A few by Isaiah Wilkins, and then one by Ahmed Hill.
Yeah.
One of those led to a 3-point basket from by Liberty, but other than that, it was lights out on defense. Really, really outstanding defense from Virginia Tech. Great on rotation. Everybody's there on the boards. Outlaw he had 11 rebounds in the game?
11 rebounds.
Holy crap. Kerry Blackshear also had a very, very good game as well. I mean, it's hard sometimes. You can see him get frustrated on the court when he doesn't get a call or a basket doesn't go his way, but he was able to keep himself composed even when he went through that stretch where he got 3 fouls in 3 minutes.
Yeah.
But he kept himself composed, and he just worked his guys in the paint, and he was one of our keys to victory.
19 and 9. I mean, that's almost a double-double. Clearly a huge reason for Virginia Tech winning. 8 of 19 shooting. I mean, not stellar, especially for a big man, but I think a lot of that came down to, some missed putback opportunities, which did end up leading to a foul or points. I would say he was very effective in the post, and I don't think his shooting percentages show that exactly.
No, 6 offensive boards.
Yeah.
That was crucial. There was one possession where I think he had 3 offensive rebounds.
And he kept missing it, but he eventually got it. He got the and one.
Yeah. Try until you finally succeed.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, again, the coach for Liberty, he tried a bunch of different things. He put in, what's the name of their backup big?
Baxter Bell.
Yeah, that
Number
guy.
0, yeah.
He played pretty good defense on Blackshear.
Yeah.
I don't think Scott James.
Scotty James, yeah, that's his name.
He wasn't the answer for Blackshear. He couldn't hold position against him.
He got in early foul trouble too. He had 2 fouls in the first 10 minutes of the first half, which was pretty much the only negative from the Liberty Flames in the first half. But I mean, we see a lot of what a lot of these smaller schools do. A lot of the smaller teams do. They try to get it going from 3. And I mean, if you're playing one of the big boys, you got to make at least 12 threes, I think, in order to win the game or at least have a shot.
Yeah.
especially if they don't have any size inside or if they're not getting any points in the paint, which Liberty was unable to do for most of the game.
Especially the second half. They went, it was like between the 16-minute mark and the
the 1 minute or the
mark.
like under 1 minute or something. They
didn't make a 2-point basket. And that's a lockdown defense.
Yeah, they only had, I think, 3 or 4 2-point baskets in the second half.
Yeah.
Huge credit to Buzz Williams for drawing up an amazing defense, not only to run them off the three-point line, but to not even allow them to score in the paint or outside or behind the arc as well. Crucial game planning there and adjustments.
I think one of the best things I've seen on the defensive end, and they did this time and time again, Liberty would drive to the hoop. Weak side help would come, usually an Outlaw or Hill or Blackshear. They would come, block off the driving lane, not let them go baseline. So then obviously, you're going to have an open man from 3
Yeah,
for
you're
Liberty.
Forced into rotation.
Yeah. So they kick it out. Perfect rotation by Virginia Tech. They didn't give them an open shot.
No.
You think when you draw 2 driving to the hoop, like that's textbook offense. You kick it out to the open man, but nope, not with Virginia Tech. You're gonna have to take a tough shot, or it's gonna have to be a mid-range shot, which they'll live with. And I think that's what prevented Liberty from getting any sort of offensive consistency in the second half.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and finally we started hitting some threes too.
Absolutely.
I mean, for 3 halves of basketball, I think we only made 6 threes.
That's not Virginia Tech.
Yeah, and that's not Virginia Tech basketball. We're a team that, used to live and die by the 3. Now we don't. That's sort of like, one of the, buffs or one of the, the perks of our team is that we really shoot the 3-point shot well. But we really can drive it, kick it out, give it to Blackshear too. We're a very versatile offense, but we do rely on the 3 a little bit. But we made 5 threes in the second half, all of them critical. 2 came from Outlaw. I think another came from Hill. Another came from Justin Robinson. All of them were critical threes. And I felt like we really started to get it going in the second half. We started to figure out who we were again. What is Virginia Tech basketball? You got to see a lot more Justin Robinson minutes as well. He finished with, I think, they haven't come out with the minute stats yet, but I think definitely over 25 minutes.
Yep.
And I think a lot of those came in the second half. So, once again, my hat's off to Justin Robinson for taking his team on his back, really. And Kerry Blackshear. Justin Robinson, Kerry Blackshear, tip my hat to you guys. You guys deserve it. You guys deserve all the praise and, everything that goes with this huge moment and huge accomplishment for you guys. But it's not over.
It's not over. And I got to say, I think there's points in this season when Robinson was out, some tough losses that you and I were shaking our head. We're saying, man, what could this team have been? Oh, this team could have done so much.
That UVA game at home where we only made 3 3-pointers.
You're thinking missed opportunity. And now we're here in the Sweet 16. Just it's so nice that this team has been able to perform at such a high level on the biggest stage with the world watching, because they played well all year. Mm-hmm. And I think in the past, Virginia Tech, known as, sort of choke artists.
The chokies. That's what everybody called them in football and basketball.
But I think at this point we've shown, hey, we took care of business. We had 2 games, we took care of business. It doesn't matter if you say, 12, 13 seed, what's the big deal?
That 12 seed beat a 5 seed.
Yeah.
I mean, they're a scrappy team.
Mm-hmm. Is March Madness for a reason. Mm-hmm. Teams lose against these teams, and but we didn't. We came out, we took care of business, and now we got a shot. We got a shot at Duke, and that's all you can ask for.
Yep. I mean, and those 2 teams that we beat were champions. I mean, they won their leagues. St. Louis, they had a lot of talent too coming into the year. They were projected to win the A-10, and they eventually won the Atlantic 10 tournament, even though they didn't. They finished 6th in the regular season. And then Liberty, 28 wins. That's a great year for Liberty. They're coming off a huge win streak. So, going up against these hot teams is challenging. And, Mississippi State, give them credit and stuff, but they were sort of flat coming out towards the end of the season. I don't think they won a game in the SEC tournament. So, I mean, it really helps to be, hot going into March, and it really helps to communicate as well on defense, on offense, and have really good game plans. And I think that's where Virginia Tech overpowered these two other teams. We're able to communicate on defense, and we do it all the time. Every time on defense, on a possession, you see Hill, Blackshear, everybody talking. Everybody knows where everybody is, and and you rarely see a blown assignment. Yeah. And when you do, it really hurts. But I mean, Virginia Tech is not known, at least this season, for not communicating and not blowing a lot of leads and a lot of missed assignments as well.
But yeah, two great games. Great to see Virginia Tech in the Sweet 16. You want to do this lightning round? This lightning round of every single March Madness game.
Well, are we going to look forward to Duke a little later on in the
Do you want to do that,
or do you want to talk about the Duke UCF game, or do you want to talk about Duke Virginia Tech?
Let's do Duke Virginia Tech, then we'll get into the lightning round.
All right, yeah. So Duke Virginia Tech, obviously Duke coming off of this miraculous win. I don't know how they didn't lose that game. I mean, UCF sort of just blew it at the end, but we'll talk a little bit about that later. Duke, a team that can really just drive you and wear you down with just the talent, the showbiz that they got going on with Zion and the Dunk City Dunk Show coming. R.J. Barrett is for real. He can drive it. He can shoot it. He can do anything, and he's a tall dude. He is a bad boy to mess with. Cam Reddish also, when he's hot, he is good. He will make threes. He's a 3-point specialist for him. They have a lot of talented freshmen, and this is definitely a team that, if we win, this will be a huge accomplishment for Tech, even though we beat them earlier in the season.
The sky's the limit if we can take down Duke.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, we can't get, our heads too inflated and stuff, especially after, these 2 wins.
Yeah.
Even if we do beat Duke, we still can't get,
one game at a time.
It is one game at a time. I mean, but hey, we got a shot. A lot of the metrics are giving us a very good chance. A lot of the pundits out there are very high on Virginia Tech, saying that we could be a potential upset bid over Duke. But then we still have to either get through LSU or Michigan State, who are very, very challenging teams to play against, both with a lot of size and a lot of good guard play as well. But what do you think is the key to victory against Duke for Virginia Tech?
Well, you're going to need a little luck.
I think
you're going to need a little luck. But the key to victory, I think, is going to be... I think it's going to be the dribble drive action with Robinson and Hill and Outlaw. I think Duke's going to go on runs, right?
Yeah.
They're so talented, and as good of a defense as we have,
Zion's going to have a few demoralizing dunks.
Yeah. And we need a counter to that. And that's our counter is those Outlaw and Hill threes that just are daggers to the defense. And we're going to need them, especially come crunch time, and that's what's going to give us be able to give us the win. Just the momentum, confidence that we're going to need down the stretch.
Yeah. Robinson and Walker are going to need to be the guys that are going to dribble it and drive in the paint. We're also going to need a solid game from Blackshear, and we're going to need him to not get into foul trouble, sort of like what he did this game. Because without him, I mean, P.J. Horn is... very, very. He's a shadow of what Kerry Blackshear is in the paint.
Not an answer for Zion Williamson.
No, I mean Zion Williamson's 2 inches taller than him too, and probably 80 pounds heavier
at least.
He's a good kid, but I mean it's hard for us. He's 6'5" and he's a forward. Mm-hmm. It's a bit undersized for a forward. But hopefully he can get some of his game going this off season, or maybe he does his job in filling in for Blackshear for a few minutes. Mm-hmm. But we're going to need solid games from all the starters. We're going to need solid game from Wilkins, making the smart plays, making the good shots when he get them, and able to pass it as well. Not turning the ball over and leading to transition buckets for Duke, because that's where they make a lot of their points off of. Mm-hmm. And make them shoot the three. I think that's the key for Virginia Tech, in my opinion. The defense locking down in the paint, and making Duke shoot the three as much as possible. If we win the battle in the paint, we win the game.
I think that's a good take.
Hands down. But yeah, so enough about Virginia Tech a little bit. Do you want to get in? Do you want me to let's give a few takes of what the games that we saw?
Yep, let's do it.
All right, let me pull the page up on ESPN. So we'll take you through some of the first round and second round games, and it'll be 20 seconds max. All right.
Yeah.
I'll try and keep it as short as possible, and I'll sort of go back and forth with Raymond.
We got no notes.
No notes. We're just giving it to you, right here, lightning round. And I guess we'll do the ones that we watched. So if you watched a game, you'll take it. If I watched a game, I'll take it.
Okay.
If we both watched a game,
we can tag team it.
We'll tag team it. Yeah. All right. So let's get to the some of the first games. So Gonzaga, Farley Dickinson. I mean, Gonzaga just completely dominant in that game.
As expected.
Yeah. Rui Hachimura putting up a show, 21 points, 8 rebounds, and an assist. No upset here. Moving on. Let's go. Michigan State Bradley. This game was actually somewhat close. It was 55-55 at, I think, 8 minutes in the second half. Michigan State sort of known to choke recently in these past tournaments.
I picked them to win once, and they lost to a 15 seed. So
yeah, I did the same thing. Middle Tennessee State.
Yep.
But Cassius Winston coming in with the save, 26 points, 3 rebounds, and 4 assists. A good win for the Spartans and heading on to the second round. All right, Abilene Christian, another 15-2 game. And Abilene Christian just really had no chance. I mean, this team just got obliterated.
Yep.
Keldon Johnson, star player for Kentucky, filling in well for P.J. Washington, who's out. Moving on to one of my Final Four contenders, Michigan versus Montana. This one was sort of close, but I mean Montana never really had a shot and lost by 19, 74-55. Charles Matthews did a very good job with his double-double, 22 points and 10 rebounds.
Nice.
All right, now we know. We're getting on to some of the teams we actually know a little bit more. Vermont, Florida State. You watched this game. That was a great game.
I was watching it while I was on campus, and I was losing my mind. Vermont, they almost made a little comeback there at the end. They just didn't miss with in the last minute or so. But I think it was a little too late. They were down a lot. It would take more than a miracle to win it.
Yeah. Too little, too late. 16 threes, though.
Yep.
16.
I mean, that's what you got to do to win as a 13 seed.
Yeah. Miondu Kabengele, though, crazy in that game. He had a few amazing dunks, and he does a great job. He's sort of like a Zach Leday guy coming off the bench. Remember him from freshman year? He sort of plays the same role. But anyway, we spent too much time on Florida State. Florida State got the win. They're moving on to the second round. LSU Yale, popular upset.
That was my upset pick. I always pick the Ivy. They were close.
Yeah, they were close, but you were wrong.
In some ways.
Even though Yale outscored LSU by 11 points in the second half, LSU able to rely on their size and their athleticism to beat Yale.
Yep.
A double-double from Cavell Bigby Williams, and they're moving on to the second round.
Nice.
All right. Another 3-14. Purdue versus Old Dominion. This was sort of a bad game from Purdue. They were sort of playing with their food a little bit. But, I mean...
Took care of business at the end of the day.
I mean, Carson
won by
Edwards...
double digits.
Yeah, Carson Edwards is going to get the job done for you, and they won by 13. 26 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. What a night from him. But we have more to see from him later.
I love Purdue. Potential Final Four candidate.
Exactly. And here's one of the ones from the first day that was really exciting.
Can we take a little bit more than 20 seconds on this game?
We'll do double. We'll do like 40 seconds.
40 seconds, okay.
New Mexico State, Auburn. Oh, Lord. Blowing a lead, 101. The class. What's your take on this?
I mean, Auburn, you got lucky, kid.
Somebody on New Mexico State passed up an open layup with
my God.
10 seconds left that would have tied the game.
Yep.
I mean, how do you do that? And I mean, to be fair, the guy that he passed it to shot the 3, missed it, but got fouled.
And then missed 2 free throws.
Yep. But the Auburn still couldn't put away because they on the rebound, they threw it out of bounds.
I mean, this is madness. This is the epitome of March Madness.
But Auburn squeaks by. Oh, boy.
78-77.
Oh, my God. That's literally playing with your food, the definition. Kansas Northeastern, nothing much to see here.
Yep.
Just a huge 34-point win. Yeah, outclassed, outmanned, out-talented, out-coached. Pretty much everything. Dedrick Lawson was huge, 25-11 from him. And Kansas moves on to the second round. A lot of chalk so far. But here we go. We got a big one here. Seton Hall and Wofford.
Ooh.
Oh.
I love this game.
Wofford, the team with a lot of three-point specialists.
Fletcher McGee. It's Jimmer Fredette 2.0. Think about it. Fletcher, McGee, Jimmer Fredette. It explains itself.
The phonics stands up for it. It's literally him. It's his spirit animal.
Yeah.
Fletcher,
sets the record.
Yeah, he set the record for most amount of threes in a career. I think with 506 in that game, 507.
Like yep.
Really good game from Fletcher McGee. Although once again they were up 13 early in the second half, blew the lead with 5 minutes to go. But I mean they got the job done and beat Seton Hall by 8-16. They went on a 17-2 run.
Yep.
With I think 6 minutes left. So good work from them. And finally, we get to an upset, Florida over Nevada. Mm-hmm. This was a weird game to watch because Florida did pretty well throughout the game. I mean, getting in the paint, scoring, getting a few three balls as well. Nevada was down, 19 in that game at one point?
It just seemed like Florida was going to take care of business, put the game away. But Nevada, the weird guy that kicks out his leg when he shoots.
Caleb Martin.
He can never play in the NBA. That is highly illegal.
His free throw form is weird too.
I don't like him.
It's like he breaks his wrist before he shoots.
But Florida able to pull away. They took care of business.
Yep, 1-9. Good performance from Kavarius Hayes with 16 points. And now we get to the defending national champions, Villanova, taking on the West Coast Conference champions, St. Mary's.
I picked St. Mary's.
Well, you were wrong because St. Mary's couldn't get the job done against Villanova.
Close, though. So far, my upset picks, even if they aren't right, it's at least not terrible.
That's true. I mean, but Villanova at least wins one game in every tournament and then either loses the second game or wins the entire thing.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense, actually.
That's the rule with Villanova. But Phil Booth, one of the lone veterans on that team, getting the job done with 20 points and 6 assists. And then we get on to the first game played today, on Thursday, which was Minnesota-Louisville, and an absolutely despicable performance from Louisville.
I can't believe it. I thought Louisville was going to win this game handily.
Yeah, especially with Minnesota being the worst three-point shooting team in the tourney.
Also, they're called the Golden Gophers, which is just dumb.
Yeah. But, I mean, I guess Richard Pitino, the coach of Minnesota, had something to say to his dad's former team, and they get the win there by 10 points. Louisville did not look good at all. Didn't represent the ACC well at all. Belmont, a play-in team, going up against Maryland with Smith and Fernando, the two tall guys, the two 7-footers in the paint. This was a tight one with Dylan Windler. This dude just couldn't miss.
Yeah, he was splashing everything. Maryland known to choke in the tournament, able to win this game, but it was close. It was really close. Potential buzzer beater at the end of this game, but didn't happen, unfortunately.
Yeah, not a lot of buzzer beaters this tournament.
No, not yet.
Yep. But Maryland goes on to win by 2 with an outstanding performance from the two big guys, Bruno Fernando with 14 points and 13 rebounds.
Very nice. And
then we get on to the Ja Morant show.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Lord. Marquette just got outclassed and they got out everything.
Yeah.
I mean, Ja Morant just went off. Triple-double. 17 points, 11 rebounds, and 16 assists.
And listen, if this dude can clean up some of his sloppy passes, he's going to be a stud in the NBA. Dude, he sees the court so well.
Mm-hmm. If he plays a little bit better, nobody really plays defense in the NBA, but I mean, if he can play a little bit more on defense, yeah, this dude's for real. Mm-hmm. I can see him going to the Suns or something, maybe helping out Devin Booker and everybody in Phoenix a little bit. And then the final game on Thursday night, Baylor-Syracuse. Syracuse with Jim Boeheim, usually good in the tournament, but not this year. Baylor just sort of beat him.
Yeah, I picked Syracuse. didn't work out. I'm really surprised. Syracuse, like you said, generally pretty good to get you 1 or 2 wins, even as an 8 seed, something like that.
Yeah, and you had them beating Gonzaga too.
Yeah.
I didn't think that was too dumb or too far out. I mean, that usually, an 8 seed usually beats a 1 seed once, every tournament, So Syracuse was a good pick, but overall they couldn't get it done. All right, but moving on to the next day of the tournament. Friday, the last day of the first round. We already covered the Virginia Tech St. Louis game, so we won't talk about that one. But we'll get into the Duke North Dakota State game. And Duke, while they did come out a little bit flat, only up 4 at the half, they made sure to put North Dakota State in their place.
Coach K was like, hey, what are you guys doing? Yeah. What are you guys doing? Get out there, just destroy them.
Yeah, just go over, knock them down, put the ball in the hoop, and dunk on them, and send them back to Fargo, which is what they did. Next 1-16 game, though, UVA Gardner-Webb. Oh boy, trying to get the monkey off the neck with UVA and UMBC.
Not albatross around.
I'm coining my own phrases.
Okay,
it's going to be on a T-shirt one day, Raymond.
Okay.
It's going to be on a T-shirt.
I don't think it is, but I'll let you have your moment.
Gardner-Webb once up 14 in the first half.
Led by 6.
Led by 6 at half. I mean, UVA, they were turning the ball over. Things weren't really going well for him. But Tony Bennett, the world-class singer got UVA back in shape. DeAndre Hunter scored a lot of points with 23 points, 6 rebounds, and an assist. Good guard play from Kyle Guy and Ty Jerome as well. Overall, solid performance from UVA, especially in the second half.
They shut up the haters. 22-5 run to start the second half. Pretty much said, hey, we're here to play.
Yeah, won by 15, too. That's a good way to shut them up. UNC Iona, another 1-16. This one was also a little bit close. Iona up 5 at the half.
First time ever 2 16 seeds have led a 1 seed at the half in a single tournament.
Yeah, which is surprising. But, I mean, as we all know, the 1 will come back and pretty much beat the crap out of the 16, which UNC did. Roy Williams got his crew together and told them, you ain't blowing this game. And they're moving on to the second round. Colgate, Tennessee. Toothpaste versus an entire state. Who wins?
It was closer than you would imagine.
It was really close. I mean, Colgate gave him hell. This one dude, Burns, had 32 points.
Wow.
I think he had like 7 or 8 threes. It was crazy how well he was shooting the ball. But overall, Tennessee outclassed them. Admiral Schofield with 19 points and a killer 3 at the end. Grant Williams also had a pretty good game. Jordan Bone as well. Tennessee moving on to the second round.
Don't hang your head low, though, Colgate. You put up a good fight.
Yeah, especially for a toothpaste company.
Yep.
That was really good. Texas Tech, Northern Kentucky. Once again, nothing really to see here. A 15-point blowout by Texas Tech. Great defense from them, too. Culver, another NBA prospect with 29 points, 8 rebounds, and 7 assists. Moving on. Houston, again, almost a 30-point win. Another 3 versus a 14. They get comfortable in their turning rout of Georgia State. Corey Davis, their all-star, put up 26 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists. Another potential pro. And then we get into a 6-11 game. You think these games would be close, but the MAC champions had something else to say to Arizona State.
I thought Arizona State. I picked, again, another team I picked. Didn't really show up. Didn't really show up today.
Yeah, this is the first tournament since the first 4 was created that a first 4 team has not won a game in the round of 64. So first time it's ever happened. I mean, you've had teams like VCU. What's some other 11s? LaSalle. And I think there's other teams that I'm just forgetting who they are, but they've definitely won a game every single tournament. But Buffalo getting the job done, putting up at least 44 in each half, winning this game by 17 points. And then we get our first huge upset of the day with UC Irvine versus Kansas State. Kansas State playing without their best player, Dean Wade, and it obviously showed. UC Irvine was able to get points in the paint. They got a lot of points from 3, too. Evan Leonard with 19 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists did a great job in leading his team to victory in that game. Moving on, another huge upset.
Ugh, this one killed me.
Oregon versus Wisconsin. I mean, Wisconsin's usually a team that, is very composed and does really well in the tournament. But, I mean, Oregon is hot, and they don't screw around with anybody in March.
No, I was actually looking forward to the next game. But actually, yeah, Oregon, I picked them to win. Finally got one. Let's go.
Oh, your first upset comes through.
Well, actually, I got Murray State as well. But, yeah, I like Oregon. They're cool. I think they can make some noise.
Yeah, Peyton Pritchard. I mean, their game's going on right now. We'll update our podcast listeners with the score. But Peyton Pritchard's for real. 19 points, 5 rebounds, and 8 assists. Really can score, get the ball around to his teammates, and really makes his teammates look good, just like John Morant does.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get into another upset, another case of blowing a lead in the second half. Iowa over Cincinnati, and this is a Cincinnati team that hasn't gotten out of the first weekend in a tournament since 2012. It has been 7 years since this team has made it past the round of 32.
And they're consistent, players in this tournament, and they've had their shots. They just haven't converted.
Iowa, a great three-point shooting team. Luka Garza, also a great person, a great center.
He might be a great person, too. Yeah, I don't know. Seems like a nice guy.
20 points in the paint. Joe Wieskamp, he's their three-point specialist with 19 points, 3 threes, 5 rebounds, and an assist.
Has some daggers.
Oh, yeah. And Cincinnati not able to get the job done. Another assist here. Or not an assist, an upset. Oh, my God. It's late, guys.
We're losing our mind.
Yeah. Ohio State over Iowa State. Ohio State gets the 3-point tight victory. Iowa State had a chance to tie it up at the end, but unable to do so. And the Big 12 champ goes down to and a Big 10 at large. Big 10 had a very good first round.
Yep.
I think they went 7-1.
7-1. Yep.
They did really well. Caleb Wesson, the double-double, 21 points and 12 rebounds. Then we get into an 8-9 matchup, Washington versus Utah State. Washington coming off a terrible performance in the Pac-12 championship game, but able to beat the Mormons and get the dub by 17 points against Utah State.
Not very close.
No, it was a little bit close. Utah State was only down 1 at 2 times in the second half, but Washington able to just bully ball their way to victory with great defense.
This one surprised me. Oklahoma coming over Ole Miss by a wide margin.
Oh, boy.
23.
This was, I think, one of the biggest margins of victory in a tournament, or biggest point totals, I think, in a NCAA tournament history. 95-72. Oklahoma just absolutely dominated Ole Miss from start to finish. They won both halves, pretty much every 4-minute period. There was nothing that Ole Miss could do to stop Oklahoma, because Ole Miss at one point made 7 shots in a row in the second half, but Oklahoma still just continued to outscore them.
Didn't matter.
Yeah. Christian Doolittle, 19 points, 15 rebounds, and 5 assists. Good double-double there. And then we had a huge upset with Liberty over Mississippi State. Liberty, a team that we mentioned previously in our discussion. Mississippi State up 10 points with 6 minutes left to go in the game and blew it. But Caleb Holmesley scored 22 points in the second half, total of 30 points, 4 rebounds and assists. This is a team that really just lit it up from 3 against Mississippi State and took advantage of them not running them off the perimeter. And then finally, our last game of the day 2, Taco Fall and UCF versus VCU, and Taco Fall just absolutely dominated.
Love that guy, dude. He's a monster.
13 points, 18 rebounds, and 5 blocks from Taco Fall. The double-double from this guy. So, yeah. Any big things that stood out to you from the first day before we get into our first 2 days before we get into the second round?
A lot of chalk. That was surprising.
A lot of chalk, except if you played in the San Jose area with Kansas State, Wisconsin, and Mississippi State all going down. Other than Virginia Tech, all the lower seeds lost. But getting into the third day, which is the second round, Gonzaga pretty much just beat the wheels off of Baylor, beat them by 12. Brandon Clark was absolutely
36.
dominant in that game. I think he had at least like 5 or 6 dunks. It was crazy how good he played. 36 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 assists for him. Michigan State, another dominant victory. They definitely woke up after their Bradley fiasco.
Yeah, cleaned up their play a little bit.
Yep, and beat Minnesota, another Big Ten foe, by 20 points in the rout. Cassius Winston, 13 points and 9 assists to go with that. And we see an exit from Fletcher McGee.
Unfortunately.
Yep.
Pretty good game.
They
only lost by 6.
They put up a good fight against a very good Kentucky team, very talented. But Kentucky just absolutely shot down McGee. I think McGee went 0 of 5 from 3.
He shot poorly, very poorly, unfortunately.
It was very, very bad. Reed Travis with the double-double for Kentucky, 14 points and 11 rebounds. Getting into another 2-seed game, Michigan versus Florida. This one, Florida never really had a chance, and Michigan pretty much just dominated both halves of basketball. Good game for Michigan, well-balanced approach as well, and they're moving on to the Sweet 16. Another game, Florida State, Murray State, and this was the end for the Ja Morant show.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Just wasn't enough. As we've seen in the past, one player can't carry a team to victory in the tournament, even with a talented player like Ja Morant. Trae Young couldn't do it last year. And Florida State's just a fantastic team. I like them to make a run at the Final Four.
Yeah, extremely deep team. I think they played 12 guys that game. Miondu Kabengele, 22 points, 7 rebounds, and a steal. Terrence Mann was spectacular in that game, had a few dunks there. Murray State just did not play very good defense. I mean, you allow 90 points in a college game.
It's not good.
That's not a good defensive performance. Florida State wins by 28, and they're heading to the Sweet 16. A tight one here between LSU and Maryland, our first buzzer beater.
Was it technically a buzzer beater, or was it a...
Well, there were 2 seconds left on the clock, but it was as
a
close
go-ahead
as
basket.
Yeah. This one was tightly contested throughout the entire game, but eventually LSU's size beat Maryland's size. I mean, not really a sort of a weird thing to say, but I think LSU's guard play with Waters really got the job done for LSU. Skylar Mays, one of the key players for LSU here, 16 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists. And Fernando and Smith just couldn't do enough to keep Maryland dancing. Moving on, another 3 versus 6. The defending national champs, Villanova, taking on Carson Edwards and Purdue.
Not even close. And Carson Edwards, my man, 42 points. That's first time. This only happened 4 other times, I think, since 2000. And, man, dude's a player.
Yeah.
Dude can put the ball in the hoop.
This guy's definitely going to take his skills to the next level. And I like this stat line, too. 42 points, 1 assist.
Yeah. He's a point guard, not a pass guard, brother.
My ball. I want it. I want my ball.
I wouldn't pass it. If I can shoot like he does, I would never pass it.
Oh, yeah, probably. But he probably got a lot of good open looks, too.
Mm-hmm.
And then our final game on game. Oh, boy.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, no.
We're coming to the end of the lightning round, so don't worry.
Final game, day 3, Auburn, Kansas. Auburn just blows the doors off Kansas, who's undermanned. Auburn just shot the 3 extremely well. Bryce Brown, 25 points. Auburn learned from their past mistakes against New Mexico State not to play with your food and get the job done.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and day 4, today, Sunday. If I can get the source. Here we go. Virginia Tech beats Liberty. We already talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
Houston, most likely going to beat Ohio State. They're up 9 currently with under a minute left to go in the game.
Be a tough comeback.
Be a very, very tough comeback. Oregon, UC Irvine,
Close one.
playing right now. Oregon only up 2 with 16 minutes left in the second half. We'll definitely tune in to watch the rest of that after we finish up here.
Mm-hmm.
And then Duke, UCF. Oh, yikes.
A scare.
Walk me through this one here, Raymond. We got to take more than 20 seconds.
Whew. So the game's coming to a close. UCF, they're up by 3. Zion takes it to the hole, right?
Mm-hmm.
He gets Taco Fall, his 5th foul, makes the bucket and 1, misses the free throw, but RJ Barrett's there to lay it up, give him the lead, and then UCF.
Aubrey Dawkins takes it down the court, and he's got a lane. He beats Trey Jones. He's got a half step on him because Trey Jones doesn't want to foul either.
Yeah.
Takes it to the rim, misses, and then another UCF guard comes in and tips it, and Barely rims out.
As close as you can get to making it without actually making it. Touched every part of the rim.
Oh, that's a heartbreaker for UCF. But I got to tip my hat to them, and they should leave this tournament with their heads held high, that they went toe-to-toe with Duke and Zion Williamson.
Mm-hmm.
Zion Williamson, another double-double, 32 points and 11 rebounds for him.
Dude's a monster.
An absolute monster. UVA, Oklahoma, pretty much UVA doing what UVA does and just locking down everyone on D. Only allowing 51 points from Oklahoma. This team who put up 95 against Ole Miss.
Yep. It's the Clamps.
Mamadi Diakite, 14 points, 9 rebounds, and a steal.
Using his size.
Yeah, this is a team that's really dangerous in March, especially now that they've passed the 16 seed. And they don't play Syracuse or Michigan State in their bracket.
Mm-hmm.
A UNC versus Washington, another 1 versus a 9. This one was pretty easy for UNC. They blow past Washington by 22 points. Nasir Little finally getting some quality minutes. Their talented freshman. 20 points, 7 rebounds, and a block for him. And then the theme of March Madness so far, blowing a big second-half lead. And nobody's better than doing this than Tennessee, who blew a 25-point lead in the second half to Iowa. But they take Iowa to overtime, and Grant Williams gets the job done there in overtime. Got to tip my hat to them and Rick Barnes for being able to get the job done. Mm-hmm. But I mean, what is it with these teams that just can't hold these teams down and sit on that lead?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's tough. Tennessee, you come out, you blow a huge lead, all the momentum's with Iowa, but then you come out and you pretty much dominate overtime. Credit to them for doing that, though.
Yep.
That takes a good coach and poised players to make that happen.
I think they only missed like 2 shots in overtime.
Yep.
They were hot. And then finally, Texas Tech versus Buffalo, and the Big 12 showing the MAC that, where their place is in the whole scheme of college athletics by beating them by 20 points.
Goodbye.
Jared Culver had a great game. And Lorenz Odiase with 14 points, 15 rebounds, and an assist. Great game from Texas Tech. They look hot going into their matchup against Michigan.
Gonna be interesting.
Definitely an interesting.
But that's it.
And that's it. That's all the games. Hopefully that lightning round was pretty lightning for you guys.
Yeah, a lot of games.
Do we got anything left to talk about?
Oh yeah, we got to do a little bit of a story time. With John and Raymond.
Got to be a quick story.
Yep. So we drove down to Charlotte, and wanted to see the Celtics. John, kind enough to come with me.
Oh, of course.
It was a good time. We ate Taco Bell. Got the shout out to the cheesy roll up. Oh, what a good time.
So good.
And then, it was a beautiful drive into Charlotte. Charlotte's a very nice city.
Very
Spectrum
nice city.
Center, very nice. They recently renovated it. First NBA game for both of us, right?
Yeah, my first NBA game.
It was kind of surreal when they tipped it off. I was like, wow. Because I had always wanted to see the Celtics, even with their disappointing season so far. I love them. They can't do anything that would make me really hate them. Even coming to see them 3 hours away and blowing an 18-point fourth quarter lead, somehow I still can't hate them. I don't know what's wrong with me. But it's a great time. You got to see Kemba go off.
Yep.
Jaylen Brown had a great game. Irving did some crazy stuff.
Yeah, 29 points from Irving, 29 from Jaylen Brown as well.
Mm-hmm. And it was a great time. Did you enjoy it?
Oh, I loved it. Yeah, I got to talk with some of the fans there.
Oh yeah, you had that little kid next to you the whole time.
Yeah, like talking with him. He was fun to talk to. He was very into the game. He was rooting for the Celtics too.
Yeah.
Even in Charlotte. Got to meet up with a Pirates fan as well.
That was incredible. We sat in the same section as I was like, when we left, John always wears his Pirates hat. I'm like, wow, it's an interesting hat choice. And you actually found another Pirates fan in Charlotte at a Celtics Charlotte Hornets game, which is basketball.
Yeah.
It's so bizarre.
Yeah, and the Pirates not really a team has a lot of influence in Major League Baseball, but hey, I found him. PNC Park. I definitely want to go see a game up there sometime.
Pretty incredible.
Yeah.
I would love to go see another NBA game.
Oh, definitely.
Celtics game. Preferably in the Garden, and preferably when they're a little better than they are right now. But
TD Garden.
It was worth every penny. I loved it.
But we got other big news to talk about.
This is very sad.
Very sad.
Very sad
I'll
for
let
me.
you take this one. I'll play taps in the background.
Yeah. Dun, dun, dun. Rob Gronkowski, officially hanging him up. He announced his retirement today. He played 9 seasons, all with the New England Patriots. 7,861 yards, 79 spikes, Gronk spikes. But even those stats don't tell the whole story. The man was incredible. Just revolutionized the position. A pleasure to watch.
He and Jimmy Graham revolutionized the tight end position.
Yeah. But Jimmy Graham, there's guys in the league right now that, Jimmy Graham, incredibly athletic. Tony Gonzalez, but
Kelsey.
Yeah, but when you look at just sheer athletic talent, no one compares to Gronk, especially in his prime. And man, it's sad to see him go, but I understand the decision. He's dealt with a lot of injuries over his 9 years. Hasn't really been healthy for a long time. But yeah, I think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. I mean, I don't see how you can argue. I mean, maybe the consistency isn't there, but what he's done is unparalleled.
Yep. I gotta definitely tip my hat to him. I remember going up against him in the regular season or an AFC Championship game. When Brady and the Patriots needed him, he was there. I remember against the game where we lost on a controversial catch call that I won't talk about. The drive before, Brady just goes down the field, 4 straight passes to Gronk, and for the touchdown to take the lead. So he's beaten us. He's beaten my Steelers before in pretty much every game that he's played. He's a tough matchup for a linebacker can't cover him. You cannot put a linebacker on him. You have to put a corner and a safety on him at all times. You have
to double him. That's the only way you can do it. And I was just thinking, even in a game like last Super Bowl, which had very little offense, the one guy that made it happen was Gronk. He caught that ball to get it at the 1-yard line. Sony Michel ran it in. But yeah, thank you for the memories, Gronk. You're truly a legend in not only Boston, but the NFL as a whole.
Definitely. Glad to see him go, though, finally. Now we just need one more Patriot to leave.
I don't think that's ever going to happen. Last segment or second to last segment?
Our named segment. Who fouled out for you this week, Raymond?
I'm gonna go with all those teams we talked about that blew leads. I think the most impressive part. I actually compiled a list and I'm looking at it, and every single team that pretty much every single team that blew a huge lead actually ended up winning. So it's very befuddling to me that this is how this is played out, because Auburn up 13 with 7:10 left, won. Florida was up 18. They blew that. Still managed to win 9 pretty comfortable.
Yeah, against Nevada, yep.
Wofford up 16, blew that lead. Went on a 17-2 run to end the game, won comfortably. Tennessee did it twice and won both times. Not very comfortably, but, they did.
Won in overtime.
And then the only big one that I really have is Cincinnati blew their lead and they ended up losing. You gotta stay focused. It's a 40-minute game, and especially in the tournament where it's you lose, you're done, you go home. It's incredible to me that teams still manage to blow huge leads, but I think it comes down to youth. But who fouled out for you?
Who fouled out for me? Well, I mean, I'm going off a similar theme here. The Boston Celtics on a 4-game losing streak right now blew a huge lead. We saw this in public or live at the Spectrum Center. I don't know what it's gonna take for them to get back on the right track, but I mean, they definitely need to have some better lockdown defense in the fourth quarter. And then tonight against the Spurs was just god awful. I mean, would they end up losing by like 20?
Something like that.
Like at home too.
Just brutal.
So I mean, if they want to have any chance at winning come playoff times, they've got to get together here.
You got 8 games to do it, so better get started.
Which leads into my question for the 3 big questions, our final segment. What do the Celtics need to do to stop blowing these second half leads and get back on the right track?
All right. It's very simple.
Okay, how
it's
simple
the most
is it?
simple thing in the world.
Really?
First.
As simple as cheesy roll-ups?
Even more simple, if you can imagine. Even more simple than literally just a tortilla filled with nacho cheese. Oh my God, it's $1. How can you not love it? Anyways, first, step 1, Brad Steven, buy a cannon. Used to shoot cannonballs.
Like a 1600s like pirate ship or something? Okay,
All right.
Cannon. All right.
You get Terry Rozier. He's like sleeping or something. I don't know. You roll him up in like a blanket or something. He's like, what the heck are you doing to me, man? You put him in the cannon. You light the cannon. You shoot him directly into the sun. You say, goodbye, Terry. You want your big contract? Well, you're dead, so it doesn't matter.
Especially taking that last shot against the Hornets. When you're down 3 and you need, your best guy, Brown or Kyrie, to take the final shot, and Terry Rozier dribbles around for 5 seconds, pulls up from 3, fades away, and it just doesn't come even close to going in. People in the audience who are Charlotte Hornets fan were just like, why did he take that shot?
It's asinine. Step 2.
All right, step 2.
You do whatever it takes to sign Kyrie Irving. You pay him whatever he wants. You tell him that the earth is flat. Whatever you got to do. Get him to re-sign. Step 3, do whatever it takes. Trade the freaking farm to get Anthony Davis. And then step 4 is Gordon Hayward turns into his old self. And then you got Irving, Davis, Hayward as your big 3. Horford, there as its center.
You don't think that they would have to give up Horford in order to get AD?
No, you're not going to. They don't want AD. They don't want Horford. They want Jalen and Jason.
Oh, okay.
That's what you give up. And picks. We got a lot of picks.
And Terry Rozier. Maybe you can give him Terry Rozier.
No, they don't want Terry Rozier. He sucks. I hate him. I'm sorry. I don't actually hate him as a person, but I hate the way he plays basketball.
All right, give me a question.
All right. Will the Chalk start, or will picking Chalk start letting people down? Do you think, we've seen a lot of Chalk make it to the Sweet 16. When's the madness going to start?
I don't know. I mean, Virginia Tech could give Duke fits, I think. They've beaten them before, even though Duke didn't have Zion, but Tech didn't have Justin Robinson. So who knows what could happen there. That's definitely a potential upset. Texas Tech could knock off Michigan, even though that's a mini upset. That's still not rock chalk right there. Purdue is also a team that I think can beat Tennessee and UVA and get out of the South bracket up there as well. So it's really I think down to a lot of the 3 seeds, 3 and 4 seeds I think are going to need to step up. But as of right now, it's hard to see chalk losing in this tournament.
Yeah. I got one more question for you.
All right. Hit me.
Duke has Zion.
Yes.
Virginia Tech has Robinson.
Yes. Check.
So, we've seen these 2 teams play each other before. It's on the Hokies court. Hokies got the win, but both those players didn't play. Mm-hmm. What do these players have in terms of impact on this game coming up? Specifically, like what they do on the floor, what they can bring, special to the table.
Yeah, so starting with Zion. Zion's just like that. He's the guy that can rally the troops. Not only with how great he plays, but with just how he is on the court and his imposing shadow and just how he plays. He dunks the ball. He gets the balls to his teammates. He can rebound. He's a force to be reckoned with in the paint. He gets a lot of offensive rebounds too. A lot of the offense and a lot of the defense, too, goes through Zion Williamson. He's a great defender. And I think he's going to be a tough matchup for Kerry Blackshear if Zion ever gets to match up against him. He'll probably match up against, like, Ty Outlaw. But he's a guy that can really just demoralize the opponent with a huge dunk. if he gets a steal, pokes it away, dribbles it up the court, and just slams it home,
Oh, yeah.
that is tough for a team to come back. Now, Justin Robinson, he's a guy that you can give him the ball and you feel comfortable with whatever decision he makes. He can shoot the ball. He can throw it to some guy who's open in the corner. He can dribble and drive in the paint. He's a guy that has a very, very high basketball IQ and will definitely make the best decision with the ball. Something that BD or Nickeil Alexander-Walker just aren't able to do just yet.
Yeah.
So I think less turnovers with Justin Robinson, and then with Zion, more points, more rebounds, and a better defensive presence.
Okay.
So
I think
that's the impact that those two guys bring to each team.
Mm-hmm. Also, yeah, and as you mentioned, like the leadership that they bring, that's something you don't see on the stat sheet. But yeah, that's all we got.
Yeah, that's all we got for you today. A lot of March Madness.
Love March Madness. We're gonna get some more next week too. Don't you worry.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, Tech's still dancing, but we'll see.
Yeah. When's our game? Is it Thursday or Friday? I think it's
Friday.
Friday.
If we played Sunday, then it would probably be Friday, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that how that works?
Maybe. It sort of changes after the first week.
Well, I guess we'll see. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for listening.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. We couldn't do this without you, the listeners, and we are so happy that more and more people every day are listening to our podcasts and our videos. So
yeah.
Keep spreading the word out there. If you like this podcast, smash the like button, hit that subscribe button.
Stop
and
this. Delete this.
We'll cut this section out.
But genuinely thank you for listening. It means a lot.
Yes.
We'll see you next week.
See ya.